Hey, good morning, Illinois. State Representative Darren Bailey from the 109th District, coming to you from my office in Springfield, 228N. I'm coming a little bit earlier this morning because we have a committee meetings starting at 8:30 and then going into session at 10. This week they've canceled session for tomorrow, Saturday, and we will be reconvening session on Sunday at 4 o'clock, and it looks like we'll be into session all the way through Friday. Probably have some long nights because there's a lot of things to talk about and discuss, most of which things that we've been fearing and not looking forward to. Still have yet to figure out what's coming, what's not, what they're having problems with. I think it's obvious that some of these laws that we've been concerned about, the reason they haven't shown up yet is because probably potentially lack of support on the Democrat side. So got a few interesting things popping up. The sanctuary state, there is a sanctuary state bill that basically regulates the police and law enforcement as to what they can do to with illegal immigrants. And as a matter of fact, one of the items on this bill suggests that when you're taking applications, that now we can't ask about the citizens of these applicants. So, many of us thought that we were already a sanctuary state. We're essentially operating that way, but there is a law out there that's coming down the tubes that is going to make things very interesting for us. So, had a bill this past week on Wednesday. It was an all-gender bathroom bill, and there were only a few of us that voted no for it. And what this bill did, it said that if you have a single bathroom and it's in a public place, that you have to put restroom on it. You can't have a sign on it for, men and women's bathroom. It just has to simply say restroom. So I voted no on that, and I had a few news services reach out to me and ask me why, and I just said, well, this is a very dumb idea. Why in the world do we have to tell people, first of all, who can use the bathroom? So this is just, guys, this is what the government has become. I mean, it's literally a mess. Literally a mess. And the only thing we can do about it is, we pray, but we start getting our friends and our family registered to vote. We make sure everyone we know is registered to vote. When the elections come around, we make sure everyone we know gets out to vote, and we make sure they're educated in the process, because this stuff that we're doing is just leading us to disaster. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, we've still got this FOID card situation coming up. In the last few days, if you'll remember, there was a Senate bill held over from last year that the governor signed the first day in office, and it put more regulations on gun owners. So nothing was really supposed to be done until this language was completed. And I mean, how would it really get completed? Because after all, the Illinois State Police are behind at least 25,000 FOID applications. I mean, there's hardly a day that goes by that our office doesn't get a call for somebody that's had their application submitted for months. And with that in mind, I do want to tell you, if you submitted your renewal and if you hang on to your receipt, as long as you have that receipt, you are fine. You don't have to worry about anything until you get your card. So the state police are drastically behind, and now they have the concealed carry rules, and now now we're wanting to dump on them these new FOID card regulations. So I can't really blame the state police. It's not their fault. It's Springfield's. It's government's fault. I wish the director of the state police would speak out to the governor on behalf of what he's seeing wrong, because what's taking place is wrong. But I get it. He's basically an employee of the governor for all practical purposes, so that's probably not going to happen. So if you do call the state police office, if you do see a state policeman, be polite and be courteous, because they're under pressure. They're being told what to do. Their hands are essentially tied because they're here to uphold the law, and we make the law in Springfield. So again, we got to get people out to vote. We've got to get people educated. What else? The abortion issue. I don't know. It may come out today. maybe sometime next week. So again, it seems like the Democrats here seem to be very reactionary to whatever seems good and moral, and that is a true shame. So much like this sanctuary state status that might be coming down, as well as I told you yesterday, these abortion laws. Many states out there have banned, so they want to. I guess they believe that by creating these, then everyone who can't have abortion maybe will come to Illinois and move and increase our population. That's a pretty sick thought, but I don't know of any other explanation other than just the lack of morality and integrity and living in the last days. Just talking about the breakdown of government, I've been sitting in working groups. Friends, I can tell you, I've seen it firsthand. We can start paying down pensions. We can start, working on our roads. We can start making this stuff a priority within what we are doing now. We're being fed, we're not being told the truth that we have to have all these massive tax raises. You know as well as I do, if we raise taxes on anything, the government is not going to spend it accountably. So it's just not going to happen, and it's not happening. As I said in these working groups, I said in human services and I said in education, K through 12, and they've got this just past week we met again, and there was this assumption that many of these taxes are going to get increased. So there's a new pile of money. Instead of paying debt, human services, instead of paying the nursing homes, instead of catching people up what we owe them, now they created new spending, new lines of spending. So that's what's taking place here, and that is the mentality of the of this Democrat state government. So it's a sad situation. Taxes, again, I don't know. I've heard that the bag tax might be officially off, but everything else is still on. So I'm sure we're going to have some long hours next week. Sean, you asked what the status of the separation from Chicago is. Go to Brad Halbrook's, Representative Brad Halbrook, Halbrook. I'll give him a shout out this morning. He's been kind of leading this charge, and last night he was on Tucker Carlson at 7:30. So go to his site, and he's leading this. I'm in full support, and you can kind of catch up to see what's going on right now. It's still just a movement, and movements take time. And if Chicago can't get things figured out and can't get their act figured out, then movements eventually turn into reality. So right now we are focusing on trying to work together, trying to make Illinois a better place, trying to hold Chicago accountable. But there's not things aren't really lining up. So I come to you morning after morning with doom and gloom, and I want you to know there's always hope. And it's the more that you get involved, the faster and quicker this state can get, that we can fix ourselves. So like I told you earlier, get educated. That's why you're listening to this. Start doing research. You check with us. We'll get you whatever we can get you to help get you educated. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. Make sure they are registered to vote. And every voting session, make sure they get out and vote. If there's a vacancy in local government, in county government, in your school board, in your township board, maybe just your precinct committeeman, get involved. That's how you begin to learn. So I know we think we're busy, but I'll tell you what, if we don't get our government under control with this sanctuary state status and our taxes and everything else, all this is heading in one direction, and I think most of you know what that is. So anyway, I'm going to head out to committee. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, send me your thoughts and your ideas. If you have questions, we're here to help, and I'll catch up with you later, and we'll see how today goes. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless the state of Illinois.